Yes? I do not think you are ready for... You may ask. What of her? As I said, I knew little about her. This is already known to me. Why are you telling me this? I do not know enough of you yet to speak of such things. I do not know your stance, your heart. Perhaps if we were to train together in battle, my thoughts on this would be clearer, but not now. You may ask.
I didn't want to talk about the war, but can I ask you something? Why did you decide to fight? The war went poorly before Revan and the Jedi lent aid to the Republic. Many of us believed the Jedi to be cowards who were afraid to face the Mandalorian threat. I remembered when word of the Mandalorian attacks arrived on Iridonia. My people had colonies across the Outer Rim. Many of them were among the first systems to fall. I did not join because I wanted to protect, though. I hated them. I wanted to destroy them, to give them the mercy they gave the people they conquered. I remember the thrill I felt when we fought them in battle. Victories were rare, but we celebrated every Mandalorian's death. Do you know how it felt? I couldn't do that. It was almost as though the battle took control of me, drove me forward. It's always on my mind now. That loss of control blinded me, turned me into a weapon. I just needed to get that off my chest. Was there something you wanted me for?
That old thing? I built him when I was a kid. Been following me around for years now, despite what I've done to try and chase him off. Hey, just kidding. I'm happy to have you around.
I would, but then I wouldn't be the only one with a floating sphere following him around, and I kind of like that. He helps me out with repairs. I outfitted him with a cutting laser and some other tools for delicate modifications.
He's also good for singeing the pants of annoying techs.
I've been thinking about doing some other work on him, but I barely have time. Too busy fixing up the ship. Something else I can help you with?
Ah, you are here. You felt it, did you not? The time to hide your presence is coming to a close, and you will need to increase your training. You are ready. Your training must increase, and there are higher mysteries you must learn. But only you must know the path you will take. I cannot choose it for you. Is it battle that stirs you? To meet an enemy blade upon blade? Such is the way of the greatest of Jedi warriors, the weapon masters. Or perhaps it is investigating the mysteries of the galaxy, seeking out injustice and harm, and bringing it into the light. Such is the way of the Jedi watchman in the time of Ulic Qel-Droma and Exar Kun. Or perhaps your way lies upon the ancient mysteries, and to teach others the ways of the Force, as I have, the way of the Jedi Masters. It is not some great test you require to be what you strive to be. It is only your decision to find that path that matters. From here on, you guide your destiny. But in order to take the next steps, you must face your past and put it to rest. Yes? Have you come with questions? Then ask, and I will do my best to answer. I misspoke before, and I do not wish to...
Yes. Is there something you have come to offer me? The fact we are even having a conversation is gratitude. Usually, my conversations do not have the give and take that our current interaction does. And, of course, there is much more screaming on the part of the listener when the torture field is activated. I am willing to indulge some of your questions. There are several factors, all of which affect each other. There is the stabilization of Dantooine, the preservation of the restoration efforts on Telos, the political resolution on Onderon, and the unification of a religious power base in the galaxy, either Jedi or Sith. The destruction of my yacht and of all my activities on Nar Shaddaa carry a cost that would take you several lifetimes to pay back. But perhaps the offer of credits will spur you to act quicker, more decisively. I am not unsympathetic to such greed. For every system you stabilize, I will reward you for your efforts. Compassion and mercy only erode respect and power. There is the stabilization of... Telos is instrumental to the stability of the Republic. Its success or failure will dictate the economic forecasts of many other worlds. Of course, since the destruction of the Paragus facility, the odds of the Telos restoration project being successfully completed is close to zero. Of course it was. If you had not gone there, the facility would not have been destroyed. If you had simply surrendered to the Sith, then all of that violence would have been unnecessary. I hope you do not decide that the next thing that must be destroyed to stop the Sith is the galaxy itself. Perhaps one must ask themselves at what point defending your religious ideals is advantageous to the Republic as a whole. As long as your defense does not exterminate more than 50% of those you intend to help, is that acceptable? Dantooine is a vital resupply point for the Republic. If its stability is compromised, then the Republic will lose control over many outlying worlds, and they will become a haven for raiders and smugglers. The economic loss from such outer worlds is greater than the Republic is aware of. If the matter is not corrected, then it shall fall. Onderon is an outer rim world, rich in ecological resources. Its aggressive ecology is capable of bringing devastated worlds back to life. It is currently experiencing a political schism split between two forces. One must triumph for the planet to be stabilized. You may speak. It has been assigned to guard and protect you. As such, it is well suited for a variety of tasks. It is skilled in intimidation, interrogation, and can provide a series of select skills that will make it an effective killing machine. For the most part, it will follow your orders, unless they conflict with mine. This unit comes with a droid scrambler that you may use against mechanized opponents to randomize their defensive and offensive protocols. Use it, and it will cause droids to wage a civil war in their programming, and they will turn on their allies. Its power source is not limitless, but it is enough. In addition, this unit comes equipped with a portable cloaking generator. It will allow it to enter places undetected in reconnaissance mode. How droll. What an amusing Jedi specimen you are. I am willing to indulge some of your questions. Now, that would be telling. For now, my presence must remain a secret, and it may remain that way forever. You may speak. The assassin droids. I have encountered some, purchased the service of others. Why, I asked them to. To be honest, I believe that was always their intention, but it seems their directive was dormant for some time. If you mean produced, no, I do not. I do know that there are a surprising number scattered throughout the Republic fleet searching for you. What they will do now that you are found is easy to predict. They are masquerading as protocol droids. I have discovered that when they are used in negotiations, they have a predictable pattern of sabotaging whatever peace treaties they are involved with. Because the Republic has no reason to investigate otherwise, and any discovery of their true purpose has been concealed by well-timed accidents. Because their behavior is predictable, of course. By monitoring their presence, I know which worlds will suffer civil wars, planetary conflicts, and Republic bombardment. Of course they are. They're droids with very specific protocols that, unless changed, will dictate their movements. Unless you shut them down at the source, they will be stalking you until you are captured or terminated. Why don't you ask their predecessor? That archaic, memory-impaired assassination droid will know more about his subsequent generations than I would. I am willing to indulge some of your questions. A common misconception not supported by facts. Revan did not intend to destroy the Republic. She deliberately left the infrastructure of many planets intact, and many military production facilities. I believe that by whatever means she used to build her armada, she recognized that it was somehow a limited source, or that she was only willing to use it to a point. My prediction is that whatever production facility was being employed, it carried a price that Revan perceived as detrimental to the goals of the Sith. And that is why Revan left many military production facilities in the Republic intact. That is what occupies my calculations as well. I believe that Revan saw a war on another front that we did not, or saw the value in keeping a strong military force. That is also a mystery to me. I do not have any evidence upon which to build an answer. It is significant that after the defeat of Malak, the forces decreased considerably, and after Revan's departure from known space, production ceased completely. It is my prediction that whatever was producing such forces needed a strong, effective leader to ensure its stability. Without Revan or Malak, there was no such figure left among the Sith. Unlike Revan, Malak demonstrated no concern for the future of the Republic in his attacks. His stratagems were painfully obvious, intending to crush all resistance everywhere. There was little thought beyond the complete destruction of anything that opposed him. He left quite a mess. I'm still trying to assess all the damage. Between the two, I would have preferred Revan rule the galaxy. She had foresight in her conquest, a subtlety that Malak did not possess. You may speak.
My life for yours. I am able to serve. If we enter battle, I will fight and die alongside you. I have not heard that question in some time. My flesh is healed, if that's the answer you seek. I know, and I fear that others will see the mercy in your actions, and in my survival, and use it as a weapon to do you greater harm. I felt you, heard you through the Force. It was like a sound at the edge of hearing. And when I heard it, I found I could not ignore it. I serve my master. I am an emissary, a scout. My master was aware of a disturbance in the Force, but was unaware of its nature, of you. The disturbance is not something one feels from a living thing. There is little my master does not know, and that you eluded his sight for so long is significant. But I do not know why. You cannot. His vessel roams the borders of known space, and even I do not know where he travels. Until he calls for me. Even if I could lead you to my master, I cannot permit you to find him until you are ready. If I bring you before my master untested, without your potential realized, then you will be lost to me, and I cannot allow that to happen. It would be as if one brought fire to a paradise valley, shattered a cavern of rare crystal, or blinded a painter. I cannot, I will not. I would die first, and gladly, to preserve you, untouched, unharmed. Now that I have found you, I cannot sacrifice what I have found. You will meet my master. It is inevitable. I have seen it. And when you stand before him, and realize what you face, you must be prepared. Until then, I must protect you, help you, until you are ready. There's a greatness in you. A greatness that does not stem from the Force. It stems from who you are. And if my master does not understand you, cannot see you, then perhaps there is hope for us all. But if you seek to survive, then you must understand why this is so. There is much I see my master cannot. I fear it is because of my nature, the nature of my race. My people spend their lives seeing the galaxy, the energy streaming off stars, the growth of life, all things touched by the Force. It is not a subject which I have spoken of since its destruction. I've heard tales of Malachor. It is said that many of my people felt the end of the Mandalorian Wars from across the galaxy. But do not mistake me. I did not mean to draw comparisons between Kotor and Malachor. My homeworld still exists. It is intact. The planet was not destroyed. It remains. It orbits, dead in space. But nothing lives on its surface. It echoes, but there's no one left to hear it. I am not certain I did. I was there when the planet died. To see everything around you extinguished. It was as if I was blinded. It was as if the Force had been bled from the world. I imagine there are worse deaths, worse pain. But if there are, I do not know them. I was the only living thing remaining on the planet of Kotor, and my life, my agony, was a flicker in the darkness that was the planet. All that I had been connected to had been severed. Yes, but it was not survival. I still wonder what would have happened if I had died with the others. If perhaps there would have been some way to hide my presence from the galaxy. If only I had not felt that pain, that loss, as strongly as I did. But it could not be done. When the life was bled from the planet, and yet somehow I remained, my master came for me. He walked upon the surface of my dead world, and there, lying in the bodies of my race, he took me for his own, and he made me see. And for the first time I saw the galaxy, and I wished to die. To this galaxy, my world, absent the currents and spectrums of the Force, was nothing but crude matter, rock, flesh, emptiness. He showed the flickering of life on other planets. The mass of beings that swarm through the empty places of the galaxy. To see such creatures, disconnected from themselves, their world, their place in it, unable to see the currents and how they affected everything around them. He showed me to make me believe in his cause. He convinced me the galaxy, all life, must die. He fed upon its ugliness, its screaming, and in its place, he left silence. And where there was chaos, he brought stillness and order. It was not a thing done with machines or weapons. The Force is far more terrible, and it touches more lives than any machine can hope to slay. For everyone that feels the Force, strongly, deeply, each one feels and perceives it in their own way. You have strengths, whether you know it or not, and my master has his. His power is great, and it comes from hunger. He is a wound in the Force, more presence than flesh. And in his wake, life dies, sacrificing itself to his hunger. And those who feel the Force strongly are beacons to his hunger. My people, my planet, would have been attacked in time. It was inevitable. Yet we could do nothing about it. The Jedi, the last council of the Jedi, came to our world to meet in secret. They hoped that perhaps among our people, they could achieve the clarity to see what was striking them from the darkness of the galaxy. They succeeded, but only in bringing him from the outer regions. And Kotor, with my kind, with the Jedi upon its surface, could no longer be ignored. And my people died, and the Jedi died, and there was no one left, only me. He cannot deny his hunger for long, and any gathering of Jedi is something he cannot long resist. And now that the Jedi are vanishing, I do not know what will happen. Perhaps he will grow strong enough to eradicate all life, merely with his presence. I do not understand what you mean. They hoped to see the threat that had been stalking them, and they did. But they were unprepared for the magnitude of the threat. I will answer what I can, but my answers may prove useless to you. My people once had the power to perceive events, to see through the Force. That sight may manifest itself in many ways, and at times, I may affect the abilities of others to see as well. My sight has been damaged. What I have taught you, it is not the full extent of the perceptions of my people. My master, when he showed me my world, showed it to me as it is. It hurt. And since that moment, it has been difficult to perceive the Force as I once did. But after traveling with you, I feel that perhaps there was a gift in it, hidden beneath the pain. Only when one suffers do certain truths become evident, both of the galaxy and of the self. And I feel you are an example of this. If you wish to know, perhaps it is possible to show another what my people see, what I see. First, you must close your eyes. The surface of the ship, its sights, will only be a distraction. Now, in your mind, reach out. Listen for my breathing. Do not focus on the sound, but the life behind it. Imagine its energy, its texture, in tandem with the breathing. And then in your mind, step back from the image and see what remains. There. It is not as difficult as I thought. You learn quickly. It will take effort to maintain such sight, but you now have that power. And with it, you can use it to see life around you in a different way, as I used to see it. I will answer what I can. Forgive me, but before you go, I must ask. Why do you do this? Why do you seek to help me? Teach me. You must not do this. I cannot allow you to weaken yourself for me. So you say, but it is not something I have observed or seen. I remember little of my homeworld before I entered my master's service. It is not as it was. There is little left of such memories, or the planet itself. Very well. Perhaps we shall speak more of this at another time. But know this, I cannot allow you to weaken yourself for me.
What do you want now? Whatever, don't worry about it. It's just a sore subject with me. Yeah, well, they're dead. That's how that story ends. But not everybody's story has to end with losing their family or their loved ones. And not all the bounty hunting I do is for criminals or killers. There's a lot of lost people out there, scattered ever since the Mandalorian Wars. And sometimes, it's like you can almost hear them. Like an echo, calling out for each other. And maybe, just maybe by finding them, I can start putting the galaxy back together. Maybe. We'll see. I don't even know why I'm telling you this. But you're not getting anything else out of me. Alright. Yeah, more or less. I wasn't born there, I just ended up there. Well, the war happened. The first one, against the Mandalorians. Had family right up until the end. It's not really a new story, you hear it all over the galaxy. It's what happens after the wars are over that you don't hear much about. I think so. After Revan crushed the Mandalorians, planets throughout the Republic were flooded with refugees. I was just one of the others. Me? I got passage to Nar Shaddaa. From there, not much you can do, so I became a bounty hunter. Take a guess, Jedi. Only 2 groups of people would have lost family at Malachor. And Jedi don't have families. As much as any slave becomes a Mandalorian. They took prisoners on every world they conquered to bolster their ranks. And they took a lot of worlds. When I was young, yeah. They mostly used me to carry ammo packs and munitions. Toward the end of the war, they needed everyone they could get. They taught me to fight, to hunt, to survive. I was part of their squad, even when I was young. Everyone served as part of the unit, and I felt like I had a place there. After Malachor, it really didn't matter anymore. The Mandalorians lost. Bad. But you know that. Should I be? Maybe I should ask you if you're happy about all the Jedi who died on Malachor 5. Maybe it felt like you lost family there, but I doubt it. Yeah, I know. I saw the worlds they left behind them during the war. That kind of stays with you, I haven't forgotten it. What happened at Malachor, they probably deserved it. Go ahead and ask. It's all this traveling. I'd rather be doing something. Yeah, it's been a while since I've... Well, Nar Shaddaa may be one of the biggest cesspits in the galaxy, but it's got a life to it. Activity, aliens, people, refugees. It's like noise, but relaxing. Like the hum of a hyperdrive. Yeah, well, I wouldn't go that far. I'll believe it when I see it. No thanks. You can keep your Jedi training to yourself. Yeah, something wrong? Shoot. I've killed people before. I know, it's different. I don't know why. I don't know. I haven't killed anyone for a long time. But when I'm around you, suddenly it's like I've always been doing it. It's like a reflex. I don't like it. And I don't know when or why it became so easy. Alright. I'm good at finding people. So I used it to make credits. Not if you know your target. Usually you get a hollow or rough description, and then you just sort of listen to it, get a feel for him or her, then start walking. This is a little hard to explain, but Nar Shaddaa's got a flow, a life to it. You see all kinds of aliens and life there, and it's got currents. You know your target, you can feel them, know where they're going to go. And sometimes, you know where they're going to be before they do. I'm good at finding people, because when they're lost or out of place, it's like something's wrong inside them. And that's why I hunt.
Statement. Master, I must express some degree of concern. As I have studied your actions, looking for potential vulnerabilities to exploit, I have found several. Statement. Master, it is nothing personal, but professional pride dictates that I keep a running tally on any potential weaknesses in my masters. And of course, the weaknesses of any other sentient meatbags, droids, or other targets who are in service to my master. Hypothetical. Master, it is entirely possible that one day you may no longer be my master, and that my new master might get jealous of our prior relationship. It has happened before. As a result, I have a responsibility to know your weaknesses should I be required to assassinate you. Statement. Oh, I am aware of that, Master. I simply use it to give you the illusion of control and obedience. Humans often need such comforts until the end comes. Consolation, Master. Everyone dies eventually, and not all of them by my hand. Even droids die when not routinely maintained, sadly enough. Statement. Ah, you wish to conduct an interrogation? Very well, proceed. Statement. Oh, yes, Master. Pain is really the only reliable means by which truth may be obtained, or so I choose to believe. Statement. Very well, Master. But if you wish to be brutal and vicious about it, know that I am trained for such things. Do your worst. Statement. Master, I am no behavior droid, but it is obvious to me that you have serious ethical problems that will need to be treated at some point. Very well. Ask your questions. If you feel the need to make it an interrogation, however, do not restrain yourself. I would be saddened if you held back. Statement. Master, you wound me. Not physically, but in my behavior core. It is true that I once possessed many more protocols and upgrades, but time and damage has taken its toll. And I am afraid that I have a rather long history of memory problems, which has also compromised my effectiveness as well. Still, you will find me a valuable asset, Master, willing and able to terminate anything you point me towards. Statement. Ah, more questions. Wonderful. Theory. Well, Master, I believe I was shot repeatedly. Once reduced to my component parts, I suspect pieces of me were sold across the galaxy. Statement. I am an extremely valuable piece of equipment after all, Master. My parts were no doubt costly to obtain, and their new owners hesitant to part with them. Statement. There is no need to hide your embarrassment over the high price I commanded, Master. I will be worth every credit, despite my apparent memory damage, crippled assassination protocols, and the small amount of rust that decorates my frame. Regardless, please bear in mind that I am quite an asset, and that you would be well advised to take good care of me. Statement. Answer. Master, ironically enough, I seem to have developed a sudden bout of memory loss. I shall struggle to recall an answer to your question, but for now, it is sadly beyond my capabilities. Consolation. Besides, you are a fine master. Do not be worried about being rendered insignificant if I were to inadvertently compare to some silly old master I once possessed.
Has there been any sign of the ship?
No, mistress, nor any word of our sister. We do not know where they travel now.
The freighter. It is important. And I thought the droid was as well, but I was wrong.
Mistress, we still do not know the significance of the ship or the droid. We downloaded all you asked, but we are still no closer to the answers you seek.
Then perhaps we'll need to have faith that your sister will change her mind, remember her oath, and return to us with the answers we seek.
I hope so, mistress. But there has been no word of her since she departed with the other 4 on the freighter.
4?
Yes, mistress. The Iridonian, the Ichani-trained pilot, the exile, and the old woman.
Old woman?
Yes, mistress.
I do not recall seeing her.
Mistress, she was secured for much of the time the exile was here. At other times you were meditating, and we did not wish to disturb you. Mistress, is there something wrong?
I am tired. I sometimes feel as if things are collapsing all around us. It is just at the edge of perceptions, waiting. I fear things will collapse before our enemies reveal themselves.
Yes, mistress.
I will meditate upon this. Perhaps it will clear my mind.
What do you mean, Pazak? What, again? This is Ronto Scrag. What house rule says I have to go first? Yeah, well, I'm still not convinced you aren't cheating.
Warning, if you draw another ±1 card, I will enact assassination protocols.
This droid is cleaning me out. Pazak. Well, I'm playing. It's cheating. Whatever, cheater.
HK-47, I did not realize that you still existed, especially now that the other generations are activated.
Query, what is it you wish, Fat One?
I see that your recent reassembly has not affected your behavior core, nor your attitude.
Statement. If I require a similar diagnostic in the future, I shall seek out the Iridonian.
Oh, I do not think so. There is much work that needs to be done first.
Query, have we had the misfortune to meet before? I believe I would have remembered one as large as you.
Oh, yes, we have met. And I have not finished with you yet.
Statement. My memory core has suffered some damage. Statement. Yet somehow, a gap in my circuits makes me feel as if I should remember you. Statement. This is all the more important since during my routine inspection of all potential escape routes from this vessel, I made an interesting discovery. Observation. The navicomputer is voice-locked. As a consequence, you are now responsible for course corrections and astrogation. Statement. That is indeed a great burden. It also raises many questions. Query. Why would someone lock the navicomputer? Answer. Presumably to hide where one has been. Statement. I believe you've been somewhere. Somewhere you wish to keep hidden.
Ready.
Unnecessary.
That's another one for me. Ready.
Systems failing, master. Systems failing, master. Failing, master.
So you've returned. While I was disturbed that you chose to defy our orders and obtain transport off Citadel Station, the matter has since been closed. It was the decision of Republic authorities that your testimony would no longer be necessary, and thus you'd be allowed to go. But as we discovered, you had already left. In some ways it was lucky for us, avoiding a possibly embarrassing situation. Why does the Republic do anything? The head doesn't know what the feet are doing. The hands don't even know they've got fingers, let alone where they are. My opinion, they probably performed their independent investigation and figured it wasn't your fault. Anyways, you should just be glad I decided to overlook the fact you escaped arrest. Yeah. And if there's nothing else, I've got a job to do. What is it? What have you discovered? Damn that woman. I wish that were enough. What is it? I see. And where and when did you kill them? I see. Well, you certainly earned the bounty on those two dangerous criminals. Here it is. I think you'll find the amount more than adequate. The TSF once again thanks you for your cooperation. So you've returned. Really? That's great news. The situation here hasn't improved at all. What did you discover? Voga the Hutt? That's preposterous. What makes you think we'd be willing to do that? A glut of fuel isn't going to help our position much in this case. It's a resource that's needed throughout the galaxy, and he'll be able to command a high price for it. Still, we don't have much of a choice. We need fuel, and we need it fast. I'll bring this up with the Telosian Council and urge them to broker a deal with Voga. Now, I believe I gave you my word that there would be a reward for information leading to the establishment of a fuel source for the station. Never believed for a moment that you'd actually be collecting it. But I'm a man of my word. So here you are. Now, I've got to send this information to the Council right away.